We're going to try and bring lifts to life a little bit today. Not talk about too much about lifts itself, but we have got a presentation for you about the monitoring and connectivity of lifts. It's kind of like Pimp My Lift, if you want to think of it like that, because it's the extra to the lift that we're going to talk through. As Paul said, I'm Adrian Crane, Managing Director of Classic. This is Steve Turner, our Technical Director. We've also got Ben Wright in the room down here, who's our Service Director in London. So if there's any questions on any of this, please just shout as we go through or during lunch. I'm going to talk a little bit about Classic first, but before I do, this handsome chap here is one of our technicians in London. You've got to bring it to life. It's the best selfie he's ever done, I think, that. So, who are we and where are we? As Paul mentioned there, we've got 7 offices throughout the UK. We are a large independent national lift company. We look after around about 12,000 units, which is lifts in everybody else's language, in the UK. Rough turnover, 40 to 42 million, and the split for that is around about 45% on our projects division, which is where we remove lifts and install them in existing buildings, or we install new buildings, which is not really our core market. I will add our core market is in the refurbishment and replacement. And the refurbishment is, as I've just mentioned there, in that 45%. The bulk of our work, however, is in service, 55%. So yeah, 7 offices that we've got give us good geographical coverage throughout the UK. How many engineers in London, Ben?
About 70, in London about 40.
40 odd engineers in London, so we've got excellent coverage throughout this area if you need to talk to us. What do we do? Straightforward, install, modernisation and service through our customers, of course, which are wide and ranging from government, large retail companies, education sector, commercial sector. We tend to stay away from industrial sites and offshore oil rigs and things like that, because again, that's not our core market. We tend to try and stay at what we're good at. So, Pimp My Lift, that's the new terminology for this now. The future of lifts is networked, as I've just touched on there, and Steve Turner is our man on the ground with this. He's going to talk you through what this means. There is a couple of names I just need to mention there. New Lift is a German manufacturer that we have been in partnership with for this equipment for probably around about 15 years. They are an excellent company. Their quality is really, really good. Some of you, if you're familiar with lift equipment, may know them. So this is a system that is their system. It's something that we promote and we are available to provide in the UK, but it does need their equipment in the control station itself. So just keep that in mind. So it's a little bit hard to read over there. Yeah, so what do we expect from lifts? We all want lifts to work. Everybody thinks lifts are boring until you're stuck in one or until they don't work. But whilst they're working and they go up and down, then everybody just ignores them and gets out of a floor that they want to do. So they serve a really, really important purpose in everybody's daily lives. There was once an industry statistic, I can't remember, about lifts being the safest form of transport on the planet, but in terms of the number of journeys that people use them for. Digitalisation and networking of lifts. So this is now going into the system, using data individually. There is a diagram I'm trying to find here. Where's it gone, Steve? That's it there. That's it there. So Elevision is the system. I'll pass over to Steve to talk it through. Okay. Not television, Elevision. And over to you.
Good, no worries, thank you. You're right, it is a bit difficult to see, isn't it?
I'll see it over there.
Yeah, okay. So Elevision is part of the lift control system, where we're able to link some key elements such as the lift doors, load weighing systems and accelerometers and all sorts of different bits and pieces into the lift control system, so that we can get really good visibility of what is happening with that lift and how it's operating. I'll run through some slides. I think there's about 140, so we shouldn't be too long. But yeah, it basically helps us to link through and give us an online system, just a web-based system that we can log in, and we can really see some real key information as to what the lift is doing. So this is the Elevision dashboard, and what it allows us to do is to sort of give us a list of sites, lifts there, and then we can then tap into some information. It's not actually that clear on there, unfortunately, but tap into some information about, activity, call-outs, how many journeys it's done, what its availability is, and just generally give us a really good overview of the lift itself. I'm going to rattle through some of these because there genuinely is quite a lot of slides here. But yeah, so we have this tubular listing, as I said, which gives us the lifts and where they are, and then the dashboard. I've gone ahead of myself there, haven't I? We can also group some of the tiles so that we can see what the health of the lift is at the time, and we kind of get a red, amber, green, red, amber, dependent on how the lift is operating, and we can use that to see whether the health check of the doors or the lift, motor, drives, all the different key elements and how they're working. Right, so just repeating myself, sorry. So yeah, we can also drill in and see things like the temperatures of the lift and how it's operating from that point of view, and times and the call-out activity, and we can see things operationally. So when we're there doing maintenance and so on and so forth, we can actually see that the lift has been taken out and being used and is on maintenance. Some of this is in German, though, I've just realised as well. It also helps us to break down into the fault codes. So obviously it's good to have the information for the client to be able to see this sort of information, but from my perspective, definitely, and from our technician's perspective, it really allows us to start drilling in and being able to see what's been happening and what's been going on so that we can fault find much quicker as well. And as I say, it gives us a lot of error codes and error categories, and we can break down what the issues are and what's been going on with them. The other thing it actually gives us as well is how much distance the lift has travelled, which is not a lot of systems give us that. We might see journey count, so it's done 500,000 journeys, so on and so forth. But to actually be able to give that as a distance, I think a lot more people are more familiar with that. And then I think the last one on here is just a bit of an error summary and energy consumption as well. So the other bit, as I say, is live data. So this is more from our perspective, where our technicians are able to get in and start interacting with the lift, with live data, and that is broken up to one side where we can see the lift, see it travelling, put calls in, so on and so forth, and then the actual data of what the lift's doing. So the inputs, the status of things, the status of the actual lift itself. Again, just to really help us with fault finding and diagnosis. We've also got some remote access elements that we can do, where we can also get in and we can actually go in and see some of the parameters and the settings and stuff like that, so that we can, if a customer phones up and says, "Oh, can we do this or can we change that?" then sometimes we can do that. We can do that remotely as well. So it really gives us a huge amount of flexibility. I'm going to skip this one because this is now getting into really sort of us being able to interrogate the lift control systems, but one of the things it also gives us is this error log, so we can start seeing where the errors are, and it gives us a nice little timeline along the bottom, and it also gives us details. If an error was to occur on a lift, it will record that error, but it'll also record key inputs, what happened, where the lift was the doors opening, was the lift going to travel, had it come to a standstill, all of that sort of stuff, so that when we're doing our fault diagnosis, we can really drill into it and see what happened at the time that the lift actually broke down. We've also got some condition monitoring, and this is more around dealing with predictive maintenance and with the things like the accelerometers and stuff like that we've got on the lifts. It allows us to start understanding some of the predictive maintenance side of things. So what that how many, the door cycles and how the lift's being used and at what floors and so on and so forth, so that when we're doing our maintenance we can actually, drill into the key areas of that. As you can see, it's just giving us more and more information about that. Move off of that one. So from a customer point of view, this is something that we actually use a lot with clients, because what the client needs to see, and certainly from their perspective, if they've got people saying, oh, the lift's broken down, it's always broken down, which we hear all too often, we're actually able to see that and check the availability, and the client can see the availability of the lift, and it just gives them a real breakdown as to how much of that lift has been available. If it wasn't available, why wasn't it available? Was it because it was broken down, or was it because due to maintenance or a critical part being replaced? And they can actually see that in that section. And as I say, you can see from this example here, there was a part that had been replaced, and you can see that obviously the lift wasn't available throughout that period of time, and with good reason. We can also see a lot of statistics, so things like wait times and call outs, call times, so wait times, so especially if it's like something like a hospital and places like that. We can if there's a group of lifts, we can start looking at what the wait times are, and then we can actually program the lifts in a way that we might have 2 or 3 lifts at a set floor because they need to be at that floor at that sort of time of day, so that we can help with traffic flow and moving people throughout the building. It's just an awful lot of repeating stuff now, but yeah, we'll run through some of the stuff, but I mean that's kind of it really. It just drives into that. I'll let you summarise.
Okay, thanks, Steve. As he was saying, there's a lot of technical information that is gathered from the Elevision system that is provided to us. The key point here is that, as well as that being provided to us, the lifts as they are without the monitoring systems on, they tend to be invisible to lift owners, asset managers, facility managers, people who are trying to give the best service for their building occupants. And if a lift breaks down, then there's all questions sort of saying, well, what's going on, what's happening, why is this, why is that? What this does is it makes the invisible lift visible to everybody, because this is an internet-based system. We can see it for all our technicians, we can see it for all our call-outs, we can see it for all the fault diagnosis, we can see it for life cycle, but so can the lift owners, so can the clients, so can the facilities management. So from a compliance and life cycle planning perspective, this really is a really powerful tool. It is the future of lifts being connected. It isn't available on every single lift in every single building, unfortunately. It does need to be part of a control system that we can help with. So if you are thinking about replacing or modernising lifts and you want it to be connected and you want the visibility, this is where we would advise to start looking, and we can talk you through that if need be. Thank you for your attention. That's our section over.